Hello everyone and welcome back to my kitchen. Today the topic is Salsa Negra or black salsa, and we're going to make it in the style of Veracruz. Now Veracruz is right on the Gulf Coast, and that state, I think it really has two completely different cuisines. There's the coastal cuisine that has produced that incredible fish dish called pescado a la veracruzana that is cooked with tomatoes and capers and olives. And then there is what I call the mountain cuisine, when you sort of rise up from the coastal plain into the mountains and come to the capital city of Jalapa. You will find very interesting moles and vegetable dishes that really, they're just exciting beyond belief. And that's where I first tasted Salsa Negra. And it is made from the local chipotle chili. Okay, so this is where chipotles come from, the smoke-dried jalapeno. And it is cooked with roasted garlic over a long period of time with a fair amount of piloncillo, that unrefined sugar that they have there. Well, it is a real labor of love to make. But I wanted to give you guys a recipe that will come very close to the flavor of it, but you can do it really fast. So we're going to start with the chipotle chilies, but the ones in the can. There they start with the little dried smoked jalapenos. So I'm going to put a couple of cans of these into the blender jar. I'm putting everything in there, that vinegary tomato sauce that they have as a canning liquid, all of that goes in there. Then I'm going to, instead of using the piloncillo, which is a hard cone and a little bit difficult to shave, I'm using dark brown sugar here, so we'll add that to it. And then, because we are going to utilize this in several different preparations, I like to add a little bit of vinegar to it. Typically in Veracruz, unless they're going to make it into a marinade, they don't add the vinegar to it. But I'm going to add 1/4 cup, again, of something very dark, because as this salsa negra cooks for hours and hours in the state of Veracruz, it becomes almost jet black, hence its name. So we're going to put dark vinegar, a sort of sweet dark vinegar, in there. And then I've got a little bit of molasses that's going to go in there as well. That will underscore the flavor that you get from piloncillo. This is going to be about 2 tablespoons of that. And we'll let that dribble down in there. And then I'm going to blend all of that together. Okay, so on the blender jar goes, the top on that, and then turn it on until it's completely smooth. We'll let this go for a minute or so. Now I left one ingredient out, and that's just about 1/2 cup of water in this, because we're going to simmer this for about 1/2 hour, and it's going to need that extra liquid. So just a quick pulse to blend in the water. And then this is going to go into about 3-quart pan. And I'm going to set this over now a medium heat. And I will just stir that a little bit here and let it come to a simmer. Adjust the temperature so that it simmers very gently for about 1/2 hour, and you will notice that the color will darken considerably. All those flavors will come together, and you're going to have something that I think is going to be surprisingly delicious to you. We're going to come back at the end of it and add one other ingredient, which may surprise you, but it's what brings out that beautiful richness that we all associate with Salsa Negra a la Veracruzana. Okay, this has cooked down. It's look at it. I mean, it's so much darker than it was when we started. So it's getting to be that sort of salsa negra color. It's really thick, almost the consistency of tomato paste. Now that's not going to be our finished amount here, or our finished consistency there. And this is sort of the ringer ingredient. You certainly wouldn't find this in a salsa negra made in the old-fashioned way in Veracruz, but it brings out what we call the umami flavors, those really intensely delicious flavors. I'm going to put 1/4 cup of soy in here. And with the other bold flavors that we have going, You won't even notice that there's soy in this. You'll just notice that it is incredibly delicious. It also darkens the color, obviously. Now, this is a salsa that can stay in your refrigerator for a couple of months, really. But what would you do with it? Because it doesn't look like a chip and dip salsa, and it's not. Well, I'm going to show you how to make one of my favorite sort of baked goat cheese appetizers to share with friends, and use this as part of that. But you could also just brush this onto eggplant that you get at the farmer's market and then grill it. It's super delicious, that. Or you might even want to use sweet potatoes or butternut squash grilled with this as a marinade. It's absolutely delicious. I need to taste this before we go any further. Spicy, smoky, real deep, rich flavors. A little can go can go a long way because it is spicy, as you heard it getting into my vocal cords there. And we want the consistency of it to be sort of like runny ketchup. I think it's going to need just a touch of water to get us to that consistency here. And now I will show you how to make that appetizer that I was telling you about. Okay, you may need some salt in yours. I don't know. This one seems perfect to me. So here we're going to combine two different kinds of cheese. One is goat cheese, fresh goat cheese, and then I'm going to cut it with a little bit of cream cheese here. And those are just going to get mushed together. Now, if you're a lover of fresh goat cheese like I am, feel free to make this with all goat cheese. About a half a pound of it would be about the right amount. If you want to cut that flavor a little bit, the cream cheese will do that for you. So once you get the two things blended together, you need to put it into a dish. I'm using the kind of dish, they call them little cazuelitas, that you would find in a lot of tapas restaurants. Those are made from earthenware. And I'm just going to smear the cheese into it. And then we're going to level the top so that we can splash on that salsa negra. So when you get this pressed into it, like that, then clean up the sides. I think I'm just going to pull off the last little bit of this. Clean off the sides of your baking dish. And we're going to put, and this is always up to you, the quantity, 2 to 3 tablespoons of this salsa negra over that. So I'm just going to grab a spoon so that you can see what this looks like when we do this here. Now this, remember, is spicy. So a nice little cap of it over the top of it, just about that much. And then clean again to make sure that everything looks nice and neat here. And I'm going to put this into an oven. I've got the toaster oven for this because it seems to be the appropriate thing for this one. We don't need to heat the whole oven up. And I'm just going to put it in there. I'm going to set the time for to check it after about 10 minutes here, because I don't think it's really going to need much more time than that. And I'll meet you back here once that goat cheese, cream cheese mixture with salsa negra has softened and is bubbling around the edge. Okay, it's just bubbling a little bit around the edges. That'll tell me that the goat cheese now is really soft and beautiful. For our final garnishes, I have Mexican queso añejo here. You could use Parmesan or maybe some Romano. This is so delicious on this. That's to put a little chopped crispy bacon. And then I like to put some leaves of cilantro on there because their herbal quality will really contrast beautifully with all of the rich and spicy flavors that are there. So just scatter those guys over the top of it. Set this out for your friends when they come over, and you have something that is incredibly, incredibly special.